joining on the team here at Hudson and working alongside Sanjay and Adam and Mike. I will give them credit, and Rachel for bringing Google Startup Grind to Milwaukee. We're super excited. Hudson really exists to be the platform on the river for entrepreneurs and individuals that really have an innovative drive that don't know quite what their outlet is. We really exist in that place in the market where individuals want to get together and collaborate, dive deep into ideas and strategies, and really build around sustainable, I would say, communities, micro communities within each other of the greater Hudson umbrella, I would say. So we have members from representing tech, we have members representing healthcare industries, manufacturing, recruiters. So there's a really nice diverse group of members that we have here. So with the intent of creating a deeper, more meaningful community here at Hudson, we felt that it was necessary to bring sustainable programming in, and it kind of happened that Sanjay was thinking about some of the same ideas, and instead of duplicating the wheel here at Hudson, we kind of teamed up and said, you know, let's find out a way in which we can partner and really bring the ecosystem in Milwaukee up to a different level, realizing that there's a significant need for a type of community that supports not just tech startups, but entrepreneurs and those that want to be in a community of like-minded people. So without further ado, I'll introduce my friend, Mr. Sanjay Mohan, to kick off the inaugural Google Startup Grind.
I usually like to go first because this is what happens now. This is useless. You spoke for all my lines. So thank you for coming in, and thanks for everything. Nick and Aaron and Dan is not here yet, but Hudson has been phenomenal in supporting us getting this off the ground. And of course, Rachel, Adam, Mike is out there. He's a professional, amateur professional.
Thank you.
And thank you, all of you, to come here and give us the time. And without you, I'll just be a crazy person talking in an empty room, right? And especially Deepak, he comes all the way from Chicago. He's our featured speaker tonight. I'll introduce him a little bit more after I tell you a little bit about Startup Grind. So just a quick through show of hands. Before tonight, how many of you had already heard of Startup Grind? Okay, that's great. So I assume have you attended a Startup Grind event before this? No, that's great. Did you attend a Startup Grind Milwaukee event yet? Trick question, this is the first one. Come on, Adam. So Startup Grind is about 400,000 entrepreneurs strong worldwide in about 200 cities. And obviously originated out in Silicon Valley, but they've been growing very rapidly across the world with the intent to connect founders, entrepreneurs, and get a community going of entrepreneurs that can rely on each other and leverage each other's learnings and resources to grow our ideas. They hadn't opened up a chapter for the last 12 to 18 months. Adam and I approached Startup Grind a few months ago and talked about setting up something in Milwaukee, which is the good land. And through a process of fleshing out both data about Milwaukee as a market as well as the interest in the local community to do something like this, eventually they said, all right, let's go ahead. So we got to go ahead about a month ago, and here we are with the launch event. This is going to be, we are trying to make it very different. There are a lot of meetups in town, I understand, and Startup Grind understands it too. A couple of things we're trying to do differently in Startup Grind Milwaukee. One is, while it's important to learn from other entrepreneurs and founders, we're trying to also bridge and bring in large corporate houses from the area, so whether it be GE Healthcare, Hudson Mutual, Harley, Goals, and learn from them as well as to what they are going through. And most of these organizations have now set up enterprise venture funds trying to target specific business problems that they are addressing. And we thought it would be a great idea to bring them in as well as part of our event series and bridge the gap between the entrepreneur side and the startup and the corporate side. So in fact, just this morning we got confirmation that in our December event, we'll have the global CTO of the healthcare coming in. And in the February event, most likely we'll have one of the senior executives from Northwest Milwaukee coming in as well. So that's one thing which we're trying to do differently. Make sure that we don't just let this be a meetup amongst the founders, but also get to hear from some of these larger organizations and what their pressure points are and what they are focusing on. The second thing which we're trying to do differently, and that's where the role of Hudson is very important, is to look at, other than just being a meetup, can we try and figure out a way to build a community which helps all of us get to the next step. So if there are folks who are not yet entrepreneurs but are looking to be, can we figure out ways and means by which we can help them, one, make a decision, and two, get them on their way. And second, others like us who have already started out, trying to find ways in which we can either leverage resources, networks, connections to get our ventures to the next stage. And that's where Hudson's playing a big role, and you'll hear more about this when Dan Walsh comes in later on today, in trying to build a community which helps the entrepreneurs. So this is not just going to be a meetup, come in, listen to a speaker, and then have a few drinks and eat something and go away. The idea is to establish that next step and give you the resources and others the resources to leverage that next step right here in Hudson. And the hope is, as we go along, we continue to grow this community. I think this is a great start to the first event. But as we go along, we'll try and max this place out, right, Mike? 130, that's the goal?
We can do 150.
You can do 150, so yeah, by the end of the year, we'll do 150. That's the intent. So this is not just about meetups. It's about Milwaukee. The goal between us as Startup Grind and Hudson, as well as some other partners that are coming in as we speak. The goal is to try and make a significant difference in the Milwaukee startup community per se. So with that, I will introduce our featured speaker. The way this event series runs is it's essentially a fireside chat. It's a very casual, interactive session. Every session has one featured speaker. It's typically not a speaker. We interview, we do Q&A. We go back and forth, learn from their backgrounds, their experiences. And towards the end of the session, which runs about 45 minutes, we open it out to Q&A from everyone. And then we break out into more casual Q&A over drinks and others. That's how typically the sessions run. So with that, let me introduce Deepak Rao. He is the Chief Operating Officer for SoLoMo Technology, which is a Madison-based firm. Deepak lives in Chicago, so he was very nice to drive down all the way from Chicago to talk to us about his experience. He, as you'll make out when he starts speaking, he has, Deepak, correct me if I'm wrong, 30 years, 35? Yeah, 30 odd years, mix of startups and large corporate houses. Started off way back when with the boom time in Silicon Valley. Moved on the next 20 years with companies like Oracle and Microsoft, and now has switched back into the startup side. So very excited to have him here. Deepak, please. So I kind of already talked a little bit about you, Deepak, but would love to hear from you in your own words, the journey, where it started, and then one to turn back to the startup science.
Yeah, so as Sanjay mentioned, my experience has included So SoLoMo is my third startup in my career. And I worked at 2 very large companies, and this is my third startup. So right after grad school, I started working in the Bay Area. I joined a software startup in the Bay Area called Concilium, which no longer exists. I was with them for 7 years. And that was an example of a startup that worked out, or it was successful. And we IPO'd and all that good stuff. And we had 2 products, 2 main product lines, one for the semiconductor industry and one for the pharmaceutical industry. The semiconductor side of our business got bought by Applied Materials, and it's still a product line within Applied. And the pharmaceutical side of our business got bought by a company called MeasureX, which in turn got bought by HP a few years later, and they just ended the product line at that time. So my first experience was in a startup that worked out, and I said, wow, this is easy. I mean, this is how I didn't have the concept of risk or what it takes to really build a startup. Then after Concilium, I joined Oracle. So I went from that to a very large company, Oracle, and I spent almost 8 years at Oracle, all on the ERP side. And that's when I moved to Chicago too. And then after Oracle, so I, pretty standard career at Oracle. Started off as they hired me as their first manufacturing sales consultant. That's what it used to be called. And then spent 8 years there. Ended up running what was called the North Central region, or the solution specialist there. And then I left that in 2000 and at the height of the boom, and then jumped into another startup, also in the Bay Area, called Alventive. We were in the product lifecycle management space, the design collaboration space. One of our claims to fame was we coined the term PLM, or product lifecycle management, before it existed. Anyway, that was a very, very, there's enough case studies written about companies like Alventive, that was the name of that company, about the boom. It was the classic situation of everything that you shouldn't do as a startup. It was a crazy time. We raised a ton of money, an ungodly sum of money even for that time, over $100 million, and we blew through it all in 2 years. And if you actually do the math of how much money we were spending in a month, that was a lot of money. And it was on all kinds of things. In hindsight, obviously, it's like frivolous things and unnecessary things. But we got caught up in the excitement, and we tried to one-up everybody else and all those things. And anyway, so that was not a successful startup. So we ended up shutting down our doors in early 2003. And then I went to Microsoft. So I went from Microsoft. I spent nearly the next 10 years at Microsoft. Variety of roles. My last role I was a cloud sales organization. And then 2013 is when I came to late 2012 came to SoLoMo. Liz Ebersol was the CEO of SoLoMo. Liz years, 15 years. And so we launched the company in Madison. And Liz lives in Madison. And the last 2.5 years or so, at SoLoMo, and it's been a great ride. Absolutely love it. Our shares of ups and downs. On the balance, more ups than downs, and so we are at the point where things are working out.
So my take from this is either you don't learn or you don't give up. Keep coming back to start. Now, I know a little bit about SoLoMo, beacon-based technology, retail analytics, and perhaps even event analytics. Tell us a little bit more. What does SoLoMo
Yeah. So SoLoMo, we are in the location analytics space. So the simplest way to think about us is Google Analytics for the physical world. So just like Google Analytics tells you everything about your website, how many people came, which pages did they click on, which things did they click on, how long did they stay, how many of them are repeat visitors, so on and so forth. To get very rich analytics on your website. We can do the same thing for any physical space. So a space like this, for example, we can tell how many people came, how long did they stay, how many of them are repeat visitors, what was their path of travel, etc. All based on, the premise is pretty straightforward. We have a sensor that you can stick in a very, very inexpensive, low-cost sensor that tracks Wi-Fi signals. So your phone is emitting a ping every few seconds, and that's what our sensor grabs. But it's where our IP comes in. Of course, it's on one half of the equation is the sensor technology itself that collects the data. But the more important side of it is how do you make sense out of this data? And so we have spent a lot of time and energy on the data science of it, or the algorithms that take all this input from various devices in any space and translate that into behavior, human behavior data. So we can tell, because what people are interested in or what is useful is you want to know how many people and how they behave within the space, and not necessarily that there's good Wi-Fi coverage here and so on. That's mildly interesting, but also for it to be useful to a marketing group or to an operations team, it's the behavior data that's more interesting, and that's what we specialize in. So the use cases for us are basically any space. So whether it be large public spaces like Millennium Park in Chicago or Temple Square in Salt Lake City, those are two of our big installations. Large public spaces or really small indoor spaces like a bank branch. Our single largest customer is the Las Vegas Convention Center, so big venues where we are measuring traffic and where we are helping exhibitors figure out what the ROI on their event is. They spend millions of dollars putting on the booth, but did anybody actually come, and how long did they spend there, etc. What is the attribution between people who come to the booth to, let's say, sponsor a keynote speech or a lounge of some sort. So those kinds of analytics we give them. So we are in events, and everybody does events. We are in retail, because the retailers are very interested in this kind of data. And we are in banks, we are in automotive dealerships. Those are our main.
So you spoke about ups and downs. Talk about downs. We have been constantly worrying about access to financial capital, resource capital. Those are our pet peeves. Some of the downs for SoLoMo, and how do you go about overcoming those?
Yeah, I mean, we went through the journey like almost every other startup goes through or is trying to go through it. Yeah, you're always worried about raising money, and we're always in raising money mode. There's no end to it. We're always looking for the next thing. Hiring or talent acquisition is those aren't like basics. Everybody has to go through it, and there is no right or wrong answers to that. I mean, there are obviously tips and tricks for doing those well. One thing that worked out really well for us in that regard is our location. I mean, the Madison's been a very, very good location for us in terms of attracting talent and retaining it. There's a rich talent pool in terms of the university there, and people actually want to stay there. So that's worked out. But with success and growth also comes the downside that people do have many options in Madison. So we're not going to be game in town. And so that's a constant struggle. Fortunately for us, our core teams, whether it be engineering or sales and marketing, have been, we've been together right from the beginning and or very, very early on, and there has been lower churn there. We've had a lot of churn in all these teams, but the core teams have stuck together from the beginning. So that has helped. I mean, I can go in any direction here in terms of, customer acquisition is probably the number one challenge any startup faces. You have, everybody has an idea, obviously, that's why you start something. And you spend a lot of time and you get caught up in thinking that you've got the answer to something. And spend a lot of time working on it, and we made some of those mistakes early on too. Is we spend too much time building the product and too little time selling the product. And by selling, I mean, in hindsight, it would have been a lot better for us to even give away the product early on. Again, I must preface this by we are focused on the enterprise market. We are a B2B startup. We are not a consumer startup. So it's different. I mean, our rules don't apply universally. But at least in the enterprise space, we should have focused a lot more on acquiring a few early customers and learning from them as opposed to thinking that spending all the first 6 months, essentially, we were completely internally focused in terms of trying to build a product, and we thought we had to have this whiz-bang product that came out before we could go pitch it to customers. We were obviously talking to customers, but we weren't really serious about acquiring one of them and learning from real-world experience as opposed to hypothetical or lab experience.
How was that different, if at all, from what your first startup experience was?
Yeah. Yes, so the first startup experience, that was Consilium. As I said, when I started, we were focused just on the semiconductor industry, semiconductor manufacturing industry. And back in those days, 8 out of the top 10 semiconductor manufacturers in the world were right there in the valley. Intel, National, AMD, all those guys, they were all right there in the valley. And so it was, and we solved the real problem for them. And so it was fairly easy to go out and test it out with them. And so, first, that was such a long time ago. But anyway, customer acquisition didn't feel like it was a big problem. And once we got so Intel was our first big client, and once Intel came along, basically, and it was a fairly small community in the valley, the word spread that, hey, these guys have got something that Intel is using in their manufacturing fabs. So everybody wanted to do it. So it wasn't that big a challenge. Yeah, of course, there are, I don't mean to trivialize it, there's a lot of complexity in selling, but it wasn't a big focus, or sort of things fell into our lap in some ways. Whereas now, absolutely not. And you're trying to introduce a brand new concept. So this category of data, location data, which is what we essentially sell, is new. Everybody understands POS data, everybody understands other forms of data, weather data, and so on and so forth, but how do you use location data to improve something within your organization is still a fairly new concept. So it is an uphill battle.
So Deepak, let me switch tracks a little bit towards learnings. And one of the reasons why we reached out to you as a first speaker is that you brought a rich experience both in the startup world as well as in the large corporate world.
which is allowing you to be successful as an individual in SoLoMo as well as making SoLoMo as a company.
Yeah, so, you know, a lot of the things that you think you know when you are, that make you successful in a large company are not the same. Because large company success is based on, or at least individual success in a large company is based on managing people and managing processes the organization and so on. There aren't necessarily relevant immediately in a startup. But there are good things in process. You learn what the value of a process in a large company. And in a startup, it's for sexy to say that, oh, it's free going and we don't have a process. But that hurts you. And right from the beginning, you end up wasting a lot of time and energy if you don't have processes in place. And so that is something that I absolutely learned from the large company experience, the value of the process, not what the specific process, but you don't have to have obviously the same level of rigor and depth to each process, but the idea is you have to establish a process right from day one. Is you have to have means of tracking things, you have to have means of communicating efficiently inside the company and so on. So that I would say is probably the biggest learning from the large company. And then another big learning for me, because we focus on the enterprise space, breaking into enterprises as a startup is very hard. You know, why would anybody take your call or be willing to listen to you? So it's a lot easier if you're sponsored in by somebody that they are already familiar with, that they are already doing business with. And so, so developing this channel strategy is I think that's what I learned also from Oracle, how Microsoft, how effective they are in building out a channel model. But then flipping back to the startup side is, it's very, so you have to, why would, for example, an Oracle or a Microsoft be willing to listen to a startup? Or why would they sponsor you inside their customer base? So that's what I also learned as what is the key there. Is how do I make myself as a startup appealing to a Microsoft or to a Google? I mean, those are, to a Cisco. Those are our three big technology partners right now. And they are taking us or introducing us to their clients. So the value of that is something that I think people don't appreciate as much. And there is a technique to that because everybody uses these platforms. There is nothing per se unique about us in the fact that we use Microsoft's technology or we use Cisco technology or we use Google technology. And millions of people do that. Everybody by default has to choose something for technology. But then how do you package a message back to them to say, okay, how do you align yourself to their goals, speak to them in their language? That comes only from having been there for a long time. So I can, within a few minutes, I can speak to any Microsoft sales team or Microsoft executive, and I'm first to understand their language, but then put myself or position myself in their terms so that they pay attention to this.
But that's coming from the individual or from the business side, and not everybody will how does it move forward when you're making that scale? Work with some larger responses.
It's also the same thing like whether you are talking to Hardy or SSU or Old or anyone of those people. You have to do, it feels like common sense or it doesn't specify about it, but the point is you not one thing. So depending on which team you're on to, I relate to my Microsoft experience. If you're talking to a field sales team that focuses on some enterprises, they have a scorecard and metrics they are expected to hit every month order and year. And so to understand those are, and then say, okay, you're not going to be all small people, so you have to pick out that for other key metrics. And Microsoft now is cloud set, that's what everybody gets paid on, that's what everybody is incented to do. So you have to pitch your story areas, okay, I'm going to help you with that. And you bring me one of your customers, and it will make an impact on this metric. And they're busy guys, or they are large companies to deal with, so they don't have time mindset to analyze things. So as long as the line message to what their three goals are, they'll be willing to assist you. So it's a question of understanding what their metrics are, because all these large companies that everybody's work here are large, very metric. They all have scorecards that are expected to hit. And so it's a matter of, and those things change constantly. They are constantly year over year change. And you find out, okay, what are those things that they're doing. If you want to leverage them as a channel or as a source of funding or anything else, you have to so they're partner.
So, sensitive question. SoLoMo as a company is based in Madison. You spoke about Madison. You do a lot of work in Milwaukee with some of the large names here, Ford, and so on. And be careful how you answer the question. These are hardcore Milwaukee names. How do you compare Madison and Milwaukee as markets?
As a market, as a target, though we are in Madison, we spend more, we spend a lot more sales effort in Milwaukee. Obviously, Milwaukee is a bigger market. This is where the customers are. And so that early on, where I talk about we spend too much time inside our walls in Madison as opposed to being on the street in Milwaukee, I think was a lesson learned. So I think Milwaukee is a great market. And the Madison, for some reason, has managed to attract a very vibrant startup community in a variety of different, and I don't pretend to know why per se, but the reality is there is a very vibrant startup community in Madison. And, so that, that has its advantages in terms of talent and so on, but it's not necessarily a place where we don't have customers in Madison, and I should say that we probably have, we do have one, but it's not really, we don't, it's not a place where we seek out customers, given our market. I think Milwaukee is right for, if there was an equally vibrant startup community here, I think the speed with which it will grow, the benefits will be much larger because you enjoy not only the startup community, but also the customers. And the good news about Milwaukee is the diversity of customer base. You got manufacturing here, financial services here, you got healthcare here, you have retail here, so such a diversity that you're not tied to any one market per se.
So you were advising in Milwaukee startup. What would be your key takeaway for this conversation?
In terms of,
I got one specific to the down our challenge always is capital and KP.
Yeah. So let's speak to fundraising always top line for everybody. And I speak to that. So we are just so that we are back. We raised our seed haven't had to raise any more money since then. We always constantly look out for it. We looked, we did the standard tours of the East Coast, West Coast, and everywhere. And, we ended up, our investors ended up being local, meaning we are leading the VCC with venture management, which is based in Madison, and Wisconsin West partners. And then we also have a smart funding from the WCC, Wisconsin Council, and Don Lane, who's one of our base, so we ended up raising a lot of money from, we have some individual investors who are more close, but all our institutional money came from Wisconsin. And there were reasons for it. I mean, the East Coast and West Coast are relatively large activity there, and there seems to be a lot of money there. But as a Midwest-based company, I think the source funding, they are available now. And smart management, you don't have to go to the CC. There's mentioned there are corporate cards now all of them have even forget ventures money get going and are really customer value and the part of the that shows that's innovation. So wasn't venture innovation and all companies now are have an innovation market. So that's a good place. So that's something that is overlooked. You will not get large sums of money from these folks. And so one large pop or one person that's not you can get small chunks of money for much of innovation. So that's something I have a lot of stories from my approach that so on, but very early on they are I remember I walked into the court that was recent. I walked into the office. I mean before we answer ourselves or anything normal, he said what's the difference between a startup and Midwest startup? Much line there. I said that Midwest startups is customers. So if you are trying to raise money at the enterprise space, they will insist on the basic in the enterprise space. So they will insist that they startups have a track record staff, or they will invest. They're very willing to put large money at wild ideas, unproven ideas that come out from those. And so don't know why, but that's reality. You have to be aware of it. You are raising money and you are not the coast. Better have a bit solid story around existing customer and past customer. Don't waste your time. Just because when you leave the very people, you hear all these stories about how just a sheet of paper or a napkin, scratch, getting a coffee shop conversation, saving money. Now, there might not be time for the Midwest-based another VC also we were chatting about ease of raising money in the area, the number of good ideas is constant. It's not like certain folks on it's just that the number of bad ideas keeps going up or down. The number of good ideas is constant. That's way of thinking. So the way they end up deciding whom to invest in is based on the formula that they have about we know that money will bring good, so that's all. It's hard easier for them to say, I know that 19 piece idea of money doesn't work out, but at least they are all
Thank you, Deepak. Before we head to the next part, I would like to any question you may have. If you don't mind, any questions.
No, I just felt like right next to the partner, so we're So you mentioned you had 5 or 6 LCs that all invested.
Yeah.
How many do you think you present to?
I can safely say close to 100. I know more between all the different, not just all the sources of.
When did you realize like Midwest, what they have on horizons on the investments and maybe or are they all the same?
It's about the same. Expectations are different. So when people there are relatively candid now we see that our stage or exit or so on and so on. Not those are starting expectations are different. So we have board members that post and we have board members that are less exposed. So a person from New York will say, oh, the minimum is we need a 10x return. And person our two board members who are on the West Coast, 10x, no, minimum is 40x. Folks in the Midwest, they say, oh, 4 to 5x. So it's a different asphalt. That's all. So I'm going to yield. I don't know, but that's bigger than time. Yes.
How difficult is it on deciding how much to give up? What's better,
So to have I would say hand of them are out of the 100 plus or anywhere than more than a lot of people express that interest. It's hard to say. That really could have ended up taking money realistically and primarily. And what goes it's just a matter of comfort. It boils down to people that we were talking to, how comfortable with them. There is an analytical side that you say is that we have things like okay, who can help you accelerate growth, who has the better role of that, and so on and so forth. But it doesn't quite end up being that. You can't really analytical about 100% analytical about it. We ended up going with comfortable with these people. We knew that we wanted to keep people who stay involved after the fundraising was done. And not just from the perspective of who can bring clients to us, but who can truly guide us and advise someone who will just stay involved. And that's where I probably the biggest decision factor that led you ended up maybe wrong, because we're all people who are extremely comfortable with it. I guess that your open nature that comes into play. And how much to give up? Obviously everybody wants a lot. Give up. Absolutely not. It is just fight for the nail. Every percentage point. And it is, of course, it is. So we started our series A discussion. We were raised. Again, there's no guideline. So it all out. They said, or in our space, in the startup space, at the average stage at that time was 6 to 10 mil. So we said, okay, we should raise too. And that's when you get into trouble about that. You said, no, you need 10 million, and then without really evaluating your company fairly, you have to give up a lot. So that's the reality hit. We said, what do you really need, and how much do we need? You need sufficient amount to make this work, but we don't want too much at the beginning. And so again, somewhat of the guesswork there, because what you need is based on projected revenue, and all that. So that there's some guesswork. But we scaled back, and we said a smaller amount of money, but we'll give up less.
Now that you've gone through all of that, everybody
It all before I came up here, I've done the big company thing, I've done the startup thing, and the rest of my career is I'm convinced I'm going to be a startup guy. I mean, that's all I enjoy this, I will do that. But the next time I do it, I will bootstrap this, or I will raise money much more differently. But I'm not saying that that's the only way to do it. It's just, if you have the luxury of doing it, that's the way to do it. Yeah.
If you were going to bootstrap it, what types of ways would you alternatively raise revenue?
Yeah.
By bootstrapping?
Yeah. So it's so in the tech space, I would say. The big lesson learned, I keep saying that, is we spend too much time internally, and that delayed our revenue generation or proving out our platform and so on and so forth. So I would start much early. I would start with a customer from day one, and so hopefully that will help you have to be a little more select. It might be longer, do it that way, but if you have the luxury, that's the way. Start with the customer as opposed to the problem yourself.
That's another. Do you mean equity, or equity, or?
Not necessarily. I mean, that is an option, but no, you are solving for them. They're really something without really knowing the full extent, but at least they're willing to invest in you that perspective. So that's where innovation is very
Outsourcing?
I personally am to it. I don't have any experience with that. All I know is what I read.
How many different innovation do you guys have
people that are they are not even our customer. Some of the early innovation leaders running from American Airlines, from 7-Eleven, and so on and so on. Those people are not our customers, but they're willing to fund
What are they starting?
so it's a point. They were trying to essentially they were also learn whether how to work startups I can sample they were trying to figure out how to work what's the right model to work with startups and so on. So just for those people there on our advice to them and though they have no idea how this us, especially for power technology and all like that. They were willing to say, okay, here's and two surprisingly, they're all to say, let's try model how do we start up and what should we acquire from them. It's not just a matter of check what do we get that. So American was they had a large Cisco knowledge. They're upgrading their tens of dollars in spec rating committed to Cisco. They were looking for how do I monetize that better. So they were new ideas to take so that's able to live with. You figure out or we add to something more whatever you guys Cisco or and that was should fit that for that let's see what you guys have.
How important was it for a startup in your opinion?
Pardon?
How important was having diversity in a startup in your opinion?
Yeah, it's easy. In our case, it ended up being very important because of the market really because it's human behavior and it's different settings, public settings, private settings, those sort of settings. So it was absolutely imperative for us. So early on, we acted well, day one, CEO, the woman, but it was limited. 6 months into it, we realized we need a perspective. And I tell you, it has made a huge difference. Even in core engineering, when we hired our first woman software engineer, within the weeks, there was a tangible difference. I mean, superficially, of course, there was a went from frat house environment to or saying things like kitchen area started being clean, less more, and so on. Those are superficial things, but it's important. But even from the way our our software development methodologies, the agile methodologies, so our ideas, and so on, started getting a lot more thoughtful and it wasn't this free flowing shouting each other anymore. And so she brought that consciously or unconsciously her presence made a difference. And I think it made a difference access to it and more and it's for not just so we have both now we have a little bit more ethnic diversity too and all those things make a difference. No, predominantly it's a very young workforce. I think there's Liz, myself. You might be the only two people who are over 30. Yeah.
Yeah, they were going to 77-year-old.
How many total employees do you have? And what percentage is dedicated to sales and what percentage
So right now, we have 17 full-time, and we have our contractor population flows between 4 and 8. So we've gone through a large, in the last year or so, we've shifted our focus more to a channel-based approach instead of direct sales. We are focusing on signing on partners who give us access to markets, and they do the front-line selling. And so we've reduced our direct sales, and essentially we're focused on channel sales now. And so the sales and team is down to 4.
What do you find out about?
Given the market that we're going after, it's hard for us to develop domain expertise in multiple industries or verticals, and it's just hard as a startup to get access to them, so it's much simpler. And the other thing is, what we fundamentally sell is data. And it's very hard for us to understand what the value of that data is in each market. So people who are already there, who already have the relationships with the customer, they're much better at it. And this allows us also to do value-based pricing. And I can speak for a long time on that topic. I mean, one of the, if I had to do it over again, this cost plus pricing is the simplest thing to do, because you understand your cost, at least you feel that you control that and you understand it, and then it's very tempting to say, I'm going to have X amount of margin and that's it, and then, but you leave a lot of money on the table. And doing that because, you have to truly understand what the value of what they're selling is, and some people are willing to pay a lot more than what than others. So in this cost plus model, you end up with the lowest common denominator. Essentially, you price it for maximum for all markets to buy your product, and that I think is the only way to go up. And then, so that's why I have these channel partners who know, okay, what will a retailer pay for this, or what will a city pay for this, and what will a convention center pay for this data, what will the hospital pay for this data. It's vastly different. There's no way you can figure it out.
So this conversation doesn't have to end here. It goes with us to the evening. So pour a glass of wine. Let's make it a little bit more casual. But I would like to formally thank Deepak for coming down to Chicago from